I've been training myself to add cheese to the picture. A smile go far, self-grace is worth a million. My outlook changed a bit, came a little up. By the time they want the price, the name that went up. Still got work to do, I'm trying daily, cause no more ships on my map. Since I'm gon' need something else to burn, daddy, and I got nowhere to turn. No better be jumping the curve. Not in the mix, we gon' act like you ain't heard. I passed to your word, well work for the hurt. My peace can't get stirred. Cause I train myself to find a sin on nights I win, no heated winner. Introspection peaks when you let that thing out within the easy when you go without for dinner. And I wasn't even a teen yet, I learned that from my jeans stretch. I moderate now more cause I'm eating, yes, I tolerate lactose with the cheese in. The pace is present, live in the future now, can't waste a second. Gotta eat beats when I lack protein. Clean drip, it don't even need chlorine. Slim from the dirt and your knees folks green. I can teach them best, it ain't no situation you can't finesse. Keep your head high, learn what you work for text. Serve 24 until you in your round of rest. Now thanks for eating Southern Cafe, here's the check.
So I'm back home and like I have here my Streakfly 3s. I've been running in these shoes since, maybe a year into living in Japan. As you can see, the treads are pretty much gone and like the foam is still there, but you know, it is certainly seen better days. These babies. Which they're not like the most high-tech shoe out right now, but it's the Zoom Streakfly. Very, very light. It has like some carbon, like a carbon plate, like I guess in the middle of it, which I don't really need a lot of support for the, like, you know, the slope that a lot of the shoes have these days, because I usually run like this anyway because I'm a sprinter. But I'm excited to try these out because these are super light compared to those, and they're something like what I wore this morning on the Ginza run. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of these. I'm currently level green in Nike Run Club, trying to get to level blue before the end of the year. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but you know, I also didn't think I would become a teacher this fast, and look at me stressing out over teaching. See, you know, goals come true. Aim super high and perhaps you'll get there. So yeah, I'm aiming for blue level. We'll see if I can do that in these babies. So when I say that I'm in the countryside now, I am in the countryside. I am walking to my training in Kasama, small town, famous for pottery. Maybe you know it if you're familiar with Ibaraki area. Anyway, I am walking because there was no taxis at the station. 1, 2, didn't want to wait for 1. 3, it's about a 3-kilometer walk. 4, the driving thing. We'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, let me try to check my navigation here. Now, you're probably wondering, well, Dante, why are you in the countryside? And the answer is quite simple. Training, baby, training. I have teacher training today. That training is a centralized location so that people from every region can reach it. Now, this teacher training is for brand new teachers. So, aside from this lovely little walk, I will also have to deal with a morning of straight Japanese communication, which would be fine if everyone wasn't so freaking nervous. So, I'm gonna have to deal with people who don't want to talk, but are forced to do so. And doubly, they don't want to talk to me because look at me. Not exactly the most friendliest face, nor is this face Japanese,
which makes me a bit of a difficult ask to communicate with. Now, that's not to say that I'm not going to be kind and try to communicate with people, but my hopes aren't high that I'm going to be making a ton of friends, as my coworker said that I would. He's very hopeful. I'm very pragmatic. We're very different. Okay, let's keep walking. Now, the upside of all of this is I love walking and I love nature, so far be it for me to avoid such a beautiful walk. Not that I knew it was going to be beautiful before I came out here. Country roads, take me home to a place I will train, eat a rocky, keep the yama, take me home, country roads. Then a lone black teacher emerged from the woods. So dramatic. So yesterday was interesting, actually. I was more cynical than I should have been because I ended up making a few new friends and definitely made some I reunited with some old friends and old coworkers, and I got to meet some new colleagues that are in similar positions, though a lot more experienced than me, so that was cool. I didn't take any footage at the actual venue because it's weird. Also, I did take one picture, so yeah, I'll put that up. But other than that, it was an informative day. One really interesting presentation, two informative presentations, and then we had a speech by the leader of the Board of Education, which was also quite interesting. So, generally speaking, a very productive training day. So now we're back on our way to a regular day at school, where I look forward to seeing my kids again. Hey guys. Yeah, it's after work chat. You saw me before, you see me after. So I'm learning that my job is like an onion. And for those of you who've watched Shrek, you know that means that it's layers. And sometimes it brings me to tears. Don't worry, I didn't cry today. And I'm not talking about the teaching portion of the job. The teaching portion of the job is literally the easiest part of the job, as I said in my last video. But I went to training yesterday, and I told you about that this morning. But then I kind of really read over some stuff, and I have training next week. In the next 2 months, I have training 5 or 6 times, and I get it. It's for new teachers, and a lot of new teachers need the tender love and care of training. But it is just looking at the topic matter, it's really frustrating to be pulled out of the classroom to be trained on something that I've been doing for the better part of 6 years. And I get it. It's the government way of doing things, because it's the same thing in the military. When I was in the military, we would do training on stuff that was the dumbest things ever. We would have these cyber awareness training, and the cyber awareness training would be a computer-based training where you would answer questions oh, is it okay to leave your computer open in a cafe and walk away and go to the bathroom? And while that would be very safe in Japan, it's not very secure for your information. So of course the answer would be
that's not good. You shouldn't do that. But that it's just an example of like stupid question, easy answer, but we got to make sure that you're not an idiot. So you're going to need to do this training anyway. Like, and so the same thing is present with the teaching thing. Like, for example, there's training on don't do stupid shit like drinking and driving or sexually harassing people or taking video of people in a sexual manner or something to that effect. But all of these things people have done before. So it's like we're doing training on stupid shit that other people have done to make sure that you know not to do them, which is always the case. Like one bad apple spoils the bunch, and it only takes one razor blade in your Halloween candy for everyone to start saying, hey, check your kid's candy before they eat it on Halloween because it's a razor blade in it. And if anyone is a 90s kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, like, I get it. Like, I understand the necessity for training, but that nevertheless still bothers me that I'm taken away from the actual job. And it would mean nothing if I was actually doing what first year teachers do, which is, you know, not take it easy, but like you're given like the least amount of responsibility. But that's not the case. Like I actually have a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that I have to do and want to do with my kids that gets disrupted by being gone for an entire day. And then I have to come back, figure out what they did when I wasn't there, and then either cover something that I thought that should have been covered, or like try to just get back into the groove. And it's a buzzkill. However, like, again, I get it. Like, I get it. Just like, I think it would be another thing also if like training was done in the language at which we're teaching. So this is going to be kind of, I'm sure it's going to have a mixed reactions. And if anybody, you know, wants to comment on it, it's cool. But we're English teachers, right? Like, not just me. Like I am taking this training with not foreigners. I'm taking this training with other Japanese teachers, but we teach English. So why don't we speak English in training? Like literally, I printed off all of the materials for training. All of it's in Japanese. And my initial thought was, well, of course, this makes sense. You know, Japanese people, Japanese. But then I really thought about it and I'm like, but you guys should be the shining examples of Japanese people speaking English. If anyone should feel comfortable doing anything in English, it should be us. You. I mean, of course, me, but we should be speaking in English. And especially because they're the youngest generation of English teachers, they should be the most proficient in the language. But as maybe it's being taught by someone who's an older generation, or just as a matter of comfort, or maybe they don't have the colloquial diction necessary to talk, colloquial diction not colloquial diction, the technical jargon. They don't know the technical jargon necessary to speak technically about teaching English, and so they can't use that. But still, to the maximum extent possible, English should be used in training. And by virtue of the lesson plan and literally everything that I've seen, that's not going to be the case. And I asked around, you know, to some other English teachers, hey, how much English do you use in training? And they're like, oh, we just spoke Japanese. I go, well, then no wonder you're not comfortable speaking English. You never speak English other than with your kids. And so if you're only speaking English with your students, then how can you ever achieve a level that will make the students think, oh, I have some aspirational goals? I know for a fact that I have 2 or 3 English students that speak English better than some English teachers in my city. How? How is that possible? How is it possible for me to have a conversation with a student who can speak better English than another teacher? And I'm not talking about at my school, because literally everyone at my school has traveled somewhere and spoken English there. This is not a my school problem, but this is a problem everywhere in Japan, where when given the choice between speaking Japanese or English, the language for which you do business and you teach, you opt out of it. I don't know. What do I know? You know, I'm a new guy. I'm new here. But I am going to put that in my feedback, because I do believe that it is a necessary evil, quote unquote, evil, for all Japanese teachers of English to get better. And that is, you guys need to be as technically brilliant at this language as you demand your students to be. And I don't mean just being able to talk about the language. Like, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, you need to be able to, you know, like being able to explain the language in Japanese does not mean you are proficient in the language of English. It just means that you know about it. It's the difference between a sports player and a sports coach. But in most cases, we don't expect the coaches to be able to play, because the actual physical acumen of a coach and the player are very different. But when we talk about speaking and using our head and using our mouths and using our hearts, no, you have all the necessary equipment, time, energy, brains to do that. So do it. Do it. And I guarantee that if a student sees a teacher that looks like them, is from where they're from, sounds like them, but speaks English like that, they're going to aspire to more. And that aspiration is contagious. Like, you will inspire them to do more in English. And the snowball will roll down, and it will be an avalanche of English speakers doing better, and then more English teachers doing better as well. And I don't want to derail this entire vlog over this, but it's just, another goal that I'm adding to my list of things that I would like to influence within my little sphere of influence, because I believe that we can do more. And that's not to say that I'm not trying to speak Japanese more. No, I absolutely am. I am studying my butt off, because I believe that I owe as much to learning Japanese as they should owe to learning English. And also, I aspire to be a homeroom teacher, and I need to be able to speak some Japanese. So there's that. Anyway, let's get back to our regularly scheduled vlog where, aesthetics and all that jazz.
So a Saturday that's diametrically opposed to the Saturday that I had last week. I am going to work. And for those of you who are questioning why I'm going to work on Saturday, it's because we have a PTA open house lesson. And I think there's a short on my channel from when I was in ALT doing one of those lessons. This one's a little bit different because parents will not be inside the classroom, but they will be there in the afternoon to get some information about, well, what's going on this year for each of their grade level students. For the first years, they'll be talking about just the newness of everything and rules and considerations and the school trip that happens later on this year, so on and so forth. Second years, we'll be talking about careers, I'm sure, because second year is dedicated to career day. And third years, we'll be talking about the future because entrance exam tests. So everyone has their thing. But the morning's full of classes, and then afternoon's full of meetings. And then that's the Saturday. No, I do not have Monday off. Just keep on trucking. So, Shogunai. For those of you who don't know what that means, it just means it can't be helped. So, let's do our best on a lovely, beautiful Saturday that I'll be wasting at work.
じゃあ大丈夫？はい。はい、ありがとうございます。So I got here early enough this time where I could actually enjoy my breakfast and kind of get my mind right for training. See? Teach a old dog new tricks. Today's training is going to be about building a class, which, as you might or might not know, I know how to do that. So I'm interested in seeing a different perspective on it. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not so arrogant as to believe that I can't get something from these trainings. I just would rather be in the classroom now. But the cool thing about this is that this time I won't be with just foreigners. I'll actually be with other Japanese teachers of English. Let's see if we can get some of that English conversation going. I was supposed to bring the curriculum for my city, which I brought, as well as the textbooks that I use for my students, and the can-do list. The can by the time they finish with each grade or each year. So I'm assuming that we're going to look at those more closely and see how we can align our lesson plans with the principles and the curriculum while achieving the can-do list. But I usually do outcome first, so I'm always really good about putting the can-do list in the front of my mind before building backwards to the beginning of class. But we'll see if they have the same idea. I'm kind of nervous though, because more Japanese.
always, 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 80% of my day is in Japanese. And no matter how much like I try to do the whole all English thing, like Japanese is necessary. Obviously I'm in Japan and I don't have a problem with that. It's just, I have to prepare my mind for soaking all that up, because as I'm speaking and listening to people, I'm also learning. I'm learning Japanese just as much as I'm learning how to be a teacher. So you can say I'm double majoring. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Maybe I'll get to show you guys a little bit, or at least talk to you at lunchtime, if we're not all having lunch together in that lunchroom again. We'll see. I can already hear people laughing and having conversations. And I'd say like that's pretty much the saddest part about this year is my best friend, who is a teacher, is now back in the military, or back in the military system. He's working for the military here in Japan now. My other best friend, he went to another school because it was his time to move on. And I have another friend who I'm working with, and he's cool. But it's just like, being surrounded by friends like every day and being able to talk and laugh and complain about everything was a luxury that I took for granted. And now that I'm all alone again, virtually, I have one teacher, but mostly alone, like I really feel the weight of my job because it's just me. Come on. Fit check. Okay, I'm being stupid. Oh, good morning, everyone. Nice Thursday morning, and we're in like week 2, day 4 of this vlog, and I have no idea when it's going to end. I thought that perhaps it would only be like, 1 week, talk about training, talk about running one time, and then, like that Ginza event running, and then we'd be done. But then like after the second training, like the second school training session, I was like, no, I want to do kind of 2 weeks just to show like how my outlook changed from 1 week to another, how like life is really up and down, because I had that great run session in Ginza, and then I had the training, which I felt disheartened by, and then I had some work and some projects going on, and then another training session, which felt great, and now I'm, going back to work and I'm feeling a little bit more positive, and I had another run and all that jazz. So it's kind of, the waves of life. And I'm sure I'll find out some kind of snazzy title to talk about how weird life can be and how atypical life can be. Very loud right now. But I'm heading into school today, have a full slate of classes. I'm also recording a video for the school website, or rather the English class website. It's a little thing that I started, which you guys saw. So probably gonna record part 2 and part 3 today. Very minimalist video, so it doesn't require much effort as far as editing, as opposed to this video, which is going to be monstrous. But I'm probably gonna finish up with Friday tomorrow, and then get this video out to you. The time you're seeing this, it'll be in that 4-day weekend, and hopefully I could do something interesting enough to have just one small video, as opposed to making you guys wait. All right, we'll walk a little bit faster so I can catch this train.